Hey, folks, welcome to Lettermen Live. We are at Roosters on Old Tangi River Road, just down the street from the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. This is an adjustment, okay? I'm in Austin's seat. Cardale Jone's here filling in for Justin's Wick. We had to, go to our, I don't want to say backup quarterback, but,
It's good. We're trying to win titles.
We got depth is what we're saying. We got the General Bob Carpenter, of course, Nicole Cox from Roosters. Everyone, thanks for coming back. Nicole was gone a week ago. What were you doing?
We had interviews for the Buckeye Cruise. We were making a new video for the Buckeye Cruise, which we have next week.
Next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. Yeah. I leave Saturday, so I won't be here next week either, guys. Calling
it off.
We had that.
So you're going down to prep for it starting?
A little bit, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm not feeling sorry. Like, what do you apologize? You're going to Florida for longer than everyone else. So
yeah, I know.
Good for you.
I know. I'm excited. I need it.
Right. I was like, what are we feeling sorry for?
The last time I saw you was in Florida, the national championship game. So good to see you back in the great, central part of Ohio. The Buckeyes are back on the recruiting trail. I want to start there because you guys know I cover recruiting, and this last week has been sort of chaotic when it comes to Ohio State football, recruiting, everything kind of culminating back in one fell swoop. The dead period's over. The Buckeyes hosted 18 official visitors over the weekend.
Big names.
They had a number of big names, 5-star kids from across the country. I saw that you were out on the weekend, and a couple of the Ohio State football players were in a photo with you on the internet.
Oh, yeah, big time.
And I want to know if by any chance you had an opportunity to interact with Quinn Ewers.
A little. Legend actually FaceTimed me because I think Legend was hosting him on the weekend, and it was
CJ too. Yeah,
exactly. So CJ and they took those guys out and was hanging out. So when they FaceTimed me, I wasn't out yet, but it was pretty cool to see that brief interaction I had with him, that he seemed like he was right at home with these guys. Yeah. And clearly as a player, when you have recruits, that's your job to make these guys feel at home because you're trying to get these guys here to help your team in the future. But I'm excited for these guys, because they're in a good situation, a very good young team that we have. Our core players moving forward will be young, so he's walking into a situation that he's going to potentially play with some of these guys for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So
did you guys ever host official visitors?
Yeah, I told you we hosted Schlags. We went through that.
You hosted Anthony Schlegel, right?
We went through that, how I got AJ and I, and then later he helps sabotage me and gets my eye socket shattered and destroyed. So he had that. Who else did I host? I'm trying to think. I know Robert Reynolds was my host on my visit. He did a fantastic job. AJ and I, they would always have AJ and I split, like, because AJ wouldn't talk, so he would need me to kind of help spurring the conversations along. And it's always easier when you got someone else there with you. But it's interesting because some of these kids, they just want to sit in the room. You have to pry them out. Other guys hey, I'm ready to go and explore life and have an awesome time.
Yeah, I want to see what this camp is about.
So it's crazy town with how that's going to operate. So there's a lot there with all of it. But part of the recruiting things, and I'll never forget as we started doing that stuff, and Urban was big on this. The Trust cared about it now, and Ryan, they're really big on it. It's when these guys get away, we're not just trying to recruit them. This is also an interview. You don't think this guy would fit us. We maybe love him as a player, and he checks all these boxes. But all of a sudden you get around, is this a guy you want to play with for the next 2 or 3 years?
Exactly.
Is this dude a jerk and just talking about himself, or is he a guy who, you kind of feel like you're bonding with and good dude? You start talking to okay, man. He starts checking boxes as a teammate, which is big. And so I'm glad we had all those guys in because we had some uncommitted guys. The Branch brothers were here. Ewers was here. And I think it's great when you can have, your big time QB. The rest of the positions are just whatever, but you have your big time 5-star dude. Okay, start helping do the recruiting a little bit. Yeah. Start talking to the families. And it was great. I got a chance. Cardale's hanging with the players, man. He's cooler than I am. I'm talking to the parents.
I wouldn't say I hung with, but I ran into the players.
So
I ran into these.
It was guys, a meet cute, I think.
A meet cute.
But talking to the parents, man, these guys, they really, to steal from Urban Meyer, they have elite families, awesome parents. And it was great to kind of have these conversations. I'm like, hey, go meet the other parents here. See if these people are people that you like that did a good job raising their boys, because that's who your boy is going to be hanging out with. Mm-hmm. And so you want them to hang around bad people? Oh, okay, go to some other schools, meet the families. You understand, I don't know about some of these guys, but come here. It's awesome. They're really, really high caliber individuals.
They do a lot of the parent socials. The entire weekend is just jam packed. But I think it's interesting. do you guys ever notice, like on the team, there's the dudes that host the official visitors, and then there's the guys that go out with the official visitors?
Oh, for sure. And that was that was my cue. I had the guys. I hosted guys.
Yeah.
So I was in my room. I had a roommate, Tyvis Powell.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we had both games.
Your young son.
Exactly. So we had the PlayStation and the Xbox.
Yeah.
So all day after you get done with, your academics part of the recruiting trip and seeing the facility and stuff like that, you come into our room. Even when we didn't host recruits, we had a system. We had the guys that hung out with the guys during the day for the most part. And me and Tyvis was never big partiers or outgoers and things like that. We both were in relationships at times. He's actually married now to his girlfriend at the time. And we had guys that sent him to go party. A guy named Najee Harris. Get guys to commit like that. Don't know what happened. Don't know. I just know.
I think it was Najee Murray.
Najee Murray.
Najee Harris.
Yeah, Najee Harris.
A little younger.
Yeah.
Got
Najee Murray.
Viewers.
Yeah. Najee Murray. It was a corner for us, and he used to get these guys to commit. I mean, did they used to make it to the following
Sunday morning
activities? That's still unknown. I got coaches calling me, "Hey, where's such and such?" I don't know. Call Najee.
Call Najee.
As soon as he answered, Coach, we got him. As soon as that, Coach, don't worry about it. He'll be there, but we got him. He's a little late, but we got him. He'll be on campus. But back to what Bobby was saying, though, it's also a filling out period for you as the player to see if you want this guy in your program, because we had 2 or 3 guys the time that I was in school that committed, came in June, and didn't make it through summer workouts.
Yeah.
Was off the team before fall. We had 2, 3 guys like that, over the 4 years I was at Ohio State. So like you said, you don't want the wrong guys, and we all know how a bad recruiting class can really hurt you for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and I think it's so important. Now, a guy like Quinn Ewers, he's the number 1 player in the country, okay? He's not just your average recruit. But he's also a kid from Texas. He's also very different. I mean, I told on the radio this morning, I was talking about how
his hair is seeing it in person is even better than seeing it on video.
It's glorious. But the thing with Quinn is that, you see all these.
And his dad has a perfectly normal haircut, which is amazing. Like, he's got 2 good-looking sisters,
very normal,
all very normal-ish people. My man's rolling up like Joe Dirt, looking fantastic.
But that, Quinn, you see all these kids posting their photos, shoots, at Ohio State. They're in their uniforms. They're all doing their poses. So, because I like to make sure we have stuff for stories and stuff down the road, I asked Curtis Ewers, I said, hey, can you send me over Quinn's photo shoot pics whenever you have them? And he says, well, Quinn didn't do them. I'm like, okay. That's interesting.
Funny stuff.
I'm like, okay. And he goes, well, he doesn't want to put on the uniform until he's a part of the team.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's
pretty sweet.
That's different. And I think you see this stuff and you realize that a kid like him who, if you met him at all, he's a little bit different. He's hunting, fishing, playing football. That's all he's really into. And it's that opportunity this weekend to get around those other players that he hasn't had a chance to meet yet. And Quinn Ewers hasn't been on Ohio State campus in 3 years.
Yeah.
And the last time he was here was before he was in high school.
Yeah.
The day he got a scholarship offer from the Buckeyes, and he'll be back next week. He's bringing one of his teammates from South Lake Carroll in Dallas, who's a wide receiver in the class of 22 that's trying to get an offer from Ohio State. So Quinn's coming here with him to sort of support him as he does a workout with Brian Hartline. And it's just one of those things that you start to see these relationships, and you guys know it better than anyone. And when you're talking about building a team, like that chemistry, that relationship starts way before you step on the field.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys through the recruiting process, because 18 guys on one recruiting trip, 9 times out of 10 they're going to run into 4 or 5 of these guys at the next recruiting trip they go to. So it's been times where, and Bobby can attest to this, that you go from, you take your 5 visits and you probably see 4 or 5 of the same guys at probably each school.
Yeah.
And you have an opportunity to play with these guys in college, and and vice versa for the recruits. You want to make sure outside of, okay, this is a great football program that I'm going to be into, I got to make sure I'm into the guys. I got to make sure my guys, on my off days or in the off season, I have more time than the season. Well, who's going to go hunting and fishing with me?
Yeah.
Who am I going to hang with and things like that? So it's a filling out process, clearly from both aspects, from both sides of that spectrum. But, people really don't realize how deep it gets when it comes to recruiting.
I have a question. So, Bobby and Cardale, do they teach you when you're in high school? Do your coaches there kind of coach you on that aspect of the recruiting? I mean, they know they're looking at your talent on the field, but what you're talking about right now is a life skill that you're going to use in your career, you're going to use in your social life when you become a parent and you're meeting all these parents in the neighborhood. So, do they kind of guide you on that and say, hey, make sure you're asking questions, make sure you are getting along with everyone, because they're going to be looking at that as well? Do they tell you that?
I mean, it's kind of a given. I mean,
it also depends on your coach, right?
Exactly. It depends
he's
on
got
your coach.
big theta over there.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So Teague and Senior, I come from a huge, well, I don't know anymore, but a huge pipeline from my high school to Ohio State. So one thing about the recruiting process as well, when we had guys that was getting recruited by Ohio State, they always made sure guys from our high school would take these guys or whatever. So, because our coaches, our parents always stress life after ball. Yeah. And when you go into these top programs, these Power 5 schools, you whatever you telling the 5-star recruit, guess what? He's going next door to tell the same 5-star recruit the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. This coach has got to try to. His job is to get the best players in his program as possible to help him win. So you go into this program thinking you're going to be all this, you might not be. So what can that program do for you outside of football? Because that window of opportunity might close before you want it to, and you got to start thinking about life after ball.
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite things about Ohio State, that they stress that. You see when you walk through the Woody and the walls, they have the displays of what guys have done after.
They don't just talk about it. I'll give Urban a ton of credit. Yeah. That's one thing that he instituted here at a very high level.
Real life Wednesdays,
forcing guys to get internships. To be honest, I mean, even the most diligent 20-year-olds like, man, would I rather sit around and play video games this summer in the afternoon? Or do I want to, in theory, I want to go do an internship. And they're like, man, I got to do it. Like, no, you're going and getting it. We're setting it up. And all of a sudden, it just takes that little motivation. So, like, the things that's why I stress to the parents, hey, you come here, it's not going to be easy. If you want your kid to go someplace where they're just going to take it easy on you, let you do whatever you want, and not be competitive, that's not it.
It's not here.
Not here. So if that's not it for you, that's fine. But they're going to try to develop your son as a player and as a person. Yeah. And it's going to be tough sometimes. But that's, if you want it easy, man, go somewhere else. But it's not going to make you any better.
In my time covering Ohio State, one of the things I remember the most about the Urban Meyer era was talking to a recruit who Urban told him, we are going to use you, so you better use us. And I think that having the ability to have that conversation openly and honestly with kids has translated into Ryan Day's staff for sure, because as I talked to the recruits and parents after this weekend, the two things I kept hearing were they were totally real and Columbus was way cooler than I thought.
I'm telling you, that's a selling point.
And I don't think a lot of people, and I mean, we're dealing with kids from Texas, Iowa, kids coming up from all over the country, Vegas, they don't really realize that Columbus is essentially Austin, Ohio. You know what I mean? Yeah. It is a great spot for Ohio State to be in, and with name, image, and likeness, which is something that was discussed a lot with these kids over the last week. The first guy they gave a presentation to on name, image, and likeness, I mean, now we're talking a little inside baseball, was Sonny Styles, whose father played at Ohio State in the 1990s. Sonny's a 5-star player in the class of 2023. So they had their first presentation for this last Wednesday morning, and it was with Sonny Styles. And if you want to know how important it is for the city of Columbus to be integrated and be a part of things with Ohio State, like places like Roosters, for example, like this is a partnership with the entire city and the school that they now have the tools to really kind of take on and show off as a partnership.
It's a partnership with the school and the city, but the other thing I press is like Ohio, the state of Ohio is the 7th largest state in the United States. There's 11 million people here. And I had said, it's a football state. You got people that care about the Browns. You got people that care about Bengals, Steelers, maybe some Lions in Detroit, Indy a little bit. But I'm like, on that Venn diagram with like all these circles, I'm like, Ohio State covers up about 80% of those 11 million people. Are you going to tell me there's more than 2 of the 11 that don't care about Ohio State? I'll say you're crazy. I'm like, that is about the max. So everybody here, it's the only school in the state. Now, Cincinnati obviously is great in doing some things and pushing, but very few places can say, hey, it is the only Power 5 school in the state. And whether people went to Bowling Green, OU, wherever, a lot of them still really love Ohio State football.
There's a lot of Cincinnati fans that are Buckeye fans as well. Yes. So, I mean, it's just one of the power of the Ohio State brand, and that's really what they try to impress on these kids when they make the visit. And it's interesting to see how it unfolds from here. There has not been any commitments yet from the big weekend, but there's stuff percolating,
it's early.
There's stuff blowing up, but we were there for.
I told a guy, go compare it somewhere else. Right, go compare it somewhere else.
That was last thing on the recruiting, because I know this is too maybe nuanced for a lot of people who don't care about recruiting stuff. But
let me tell you this: recruiting is the most important thing, because I'd rather be an average coach with great players than a great coach with average players all day long.
Larry Johnson was talking to Omari Abor, who's a 5-star defensive end from Dallas, Texas.
Dude, that dude is big,
and
he's like not a real human. He's like LeBron James style in high school.
Yeah. So
I saw him like, dude, you're 30 years old.
So Larry, and I talked to Amari on Sunday night about the visit, and he said Larry kept bringing up this word investment. He said he kept telling me that he's investing in me. It's not him coaching me. It's not him recruiting me. And it was when you guys talk about, okay, this 5-star goes here and here's this. He goes to the next place and here's the same thing. This is something Omari said, I'd never heard anything like that. I'd never heard a coach tell me that he wasn't going to be my coach for 4 years. He was going to be a sounding board for me the rest of my life.
And Larry backs that up because
for sure.
he calls his guys every Wednesday and has breakdown with all the dudes in the NFL talking about their game film that week. I mean, that is investment. Now, you're more familiar. Yes. Yeah, exactly. You're more firmarier with the investment is on the way out. Make sure you grab your McDonald's bag.
Yes, absolutely. Or your Roosters.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's not actually McDonald's in the McDonald's bag.
Oh, there's not?
God, at least not in Tennessee.
I'm sorry. I'm incredibly naive to this whole thing. So last Wednesday we were inside of the Woody Hayes Athletic Center for the first camp, and one of the cool things for us as the media about camp days is that we get our first chance at seeing the current team.
After some strong arming.
After a little bit of pissing and moaning, we got into the camps, and the cool thing is we get to see the team, right? So it's our first time, especially right now after the last 18 months of nothing, to see the guys on the roster walking around. We get our first glimpse of who's like put in the work, who's got, and I'll tell you what.
Developed here.
CJ Stroud, boy, is a lot better than people are for people who are going into this offseason kind of concerned. Like what I saw to CJ Stroud in the last 45 minutes of being in that Woody Hayes Athletic Center last Wednesday night, he was out there with Kyle McCord, the freshman quarterback, and he was out there with Jackson Smith and Jigba, Chris Olave, Emeka Ibuka, freshman wide receiver. Who else was out there? And Marvin Harrison Jr. was out there, of course. And then Miyan Williams is the only tailback in there working with him. This offense, these guys are putting in a lot of work on their own. And it's running back week, so I want to start there. But there's a lot to be excited about with Miyan Williams, who is my pick. We talked about this on our YouTube channel on Monday morning. I think that when the Buckeyes kick off their season against Minnesota on September 2nd, that it's going to be Miyan Williams that starts at tailback for Ohio State. He'll be out there first. I want your predictions. Knowing here's the lineup, right? You got Master Teague, you got Miyan Williams, you got Marcus Crowley coming off of the ACL a year and a half ago. You got Steele Chambers, who hasn't been able to see the field, and you got the best freshman running back in the country in TreVeyon Henderson, and another top 3 high school running back last year in Evan Pryor. With a brand new quarterback, how different does the Buckeye offense look, and who's starting first?
I almost want to say that you'll see Master Teague out there simply just out of deference for him to start the game, which wouldn't surprise me. As much as everybody got mad at Tress about how he kind of always aired on the older guys and did some different things, and maybe it's like, all right, we're playing the best, we're doing this. I could see them starting Master Teague in a, quote, like starter role to come out there to be the first guy just because of what he means to the team and what he can give them, but probably isn't the guy that gets the most touches. And so I could see that happening. If I had to bet, I'd probably say that. My second pick would probably be if you're gonna go off of him. I like Miyan Williams, who's like a little Natron Means, Maurice Jones-Drew, just little meatball and really good. But TreVeyon Henderson is, I think, the real deal. And it is hard to start as a freshman at Ohio State at running back. Watch Dobbins do it, and his was a little bit more because Weber was nicked up.
Yeah, Mike was hurt, and there was not 6 other guys in that.
Yeah, it was just him. Maurice is the only dude I've seen come in and just literally wipe the floor and like it's yours now. And so I put that as critical acclaim, but from what I've seen and heard, I think that he's got a shot to be able to do that.
I've asked people repeatedly, just go watch TreVeyon Henderson's junior high school football film because he did not have a senior season in high school because of COVID. You will see a different type of player than you see almost anywhere else in the country when you're talking about tailback. I'm asking. I still want to know you're saying Master?
I got Teague just because for one, it's so I commend you for your job of being able to recruit these guys in high school because we all know that don't always translate to college. Right. So it would be hard for me to even go back and if he had a senior year to watch and say, oh, he's going to be the guy when he step on campus. But I'm gonna go with Teague because when you're going with a new quarterback, you're trying to make it as comfortable as possible around him. So you want guys with experience. Clearly, you got the guys on the outside. Clearly, you're going to have a few shuffles up front. But I want a guy right next to me who's been in those situations, who's been in those big moments, and can protect me when I drop back. Or, hey, if I'm 0 for 2 to start the game off, I can hand the ball off him. He's going to get us, or third and manageable, or get us off the field. So I think T is going to be that guy early, but. Like Bobby said, I don't know if he's going to be the guy that get the most touches in the game, but the starting role just by default, I think it's Teague.
And Nicole, we've seen in the last couple of years with Master Teague in the Big Ten when he's had a chance to play against the average Big Ten competition, he's done pretty well. I mean, he's racked off 100-yard games. He's showed breakaway speed. He's showed that he can put the ball in the end zone against anyone. But if from the 1-yard line, he might be the best 1-yard running back in America. But do you think that you have to go with the old head?
I think so, absolutely. And I am. I'm going to pick the same. I'm going to say Master Teague, but because I believe so much in leadership. And I think that with the running game is going to be so important this year just because of having a new quarterback that, just because he's going to be new. So Master Teague, I believe, has that leadership role, as you guys were saying. That's exactly what you were saying, that it's just a staple. It's the confidence that'll be out there. He's been out in the games, and I just think for that first game, it'll be him.
Yeah, I'm still sticking with Miyan Williams because I really think that he has shown in this offseason, and especially last year. Miyan Williams, I don't know if you guys know this, when he took his official visit to Ohio State in November of 2019, he walked down that tunnel at like 250 pounds. I remember watching him, and I'm like, that kid is not going to play running back at Ohio State. I'd seen the tape. I knew he was really good. I mean, he ran for 6,000 yards in high school. He's a very productive player.
Yeah.
Very productive player. But he walked down that ramp at 250 pounds at 5'10".
Stuff like that scares me. When a kid ran for 6,000 yards in high school, it's like, for one, I'm questioning competition. And I'm questioning, like, golly, you must have been getting – you got some miles on you already. So 6,
he was down at Winton Woods High School down in Cincinnati. Like the kid, it's a fairly good competition, but you saw a kid that you worried about. Like, is he going to take care of himself?
Coach Mick will.
Trust me, he'll get it off of him.
Exactly.
And he's down. He's now he's at like 220 pounds. He looks great.
Yeah.
And I think this is where Master Teague is actually most important because I think that everyone who can look at the program objectively knows that Master Teague may have hit his ceiling as far as what he can do on the field. The injury stuff has slowed him down a little bit. He's never been a guy that has wiggle and can really, make things happen in the hole. If you give him a straight line or one cut, he's
a great finisher, man. As a defensive player, when you're gassed and like you go from quick dude and then you've got this. I mean, he's big. Yeah. He's strong and he's fast. Yeah. Like just pounding on you. Like, and he's great. He was great with JK his freshman year, finishing those guys off because you go from him bouncing around to just getting blasted.
You're talking about a kid who's a 4.37 guy at 220 pounds, 6'2". He's a big kid,
up, man. Yeah.
I mean, and he's always been that way. But there is a difference, and you see it in the offense in the last couple of years with JK. What you get when you have a little bit more wiggle in that offense and someone that can make things happen on their own. Master needs a perfectly blocked play to make something happen, and there's a difference at tailback between the guys who have those elite instincts, like Maurice Clarett, like J.K. Dobbins, like Ezekiel Elliott. Those instincts matter in a running back.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think it's going to end up in a situation where after we lost Carlos Hyde and Rod Smith was kind of the old head, and Zeke was going into the second year. Rod got the nod, but we knew who was going to be starting running back.
But he had to earn it. But you got to go out. You got to go out and it's not just about hey, I should be the guy. You have to go out there and prove that you are the guy.
And that's what I anticipate with Teague and these guys behind him, because after him, I mean, it's a toss up for who you. I mean, they got 6 really good running backs that probably can start. 4 of these guys probably can start anywhere else in the country.
Yeah.
So we'll see who earns it.
Well, what we're also going to see is Appetizer Tuesday at Roosters. What is it?
Mozzarella sticks.
Mozzarella sticks.
Everyone loves mozz sticks.
Yes, they are.
We've talked about this before. Are you ranch or marinara?
What?
I'm ranch.
There's people out there.
I'm both.
I am stunned.
I like both.
Stunned to hear that.
I know, right?
What are you doing?
What is going on? Where am I? It said ranch and mozzarella sticks.
That's what I said. I've never heard of.
And the marinara. I do the marinara, then the ranch. I'm a condiment person, though. I love sauces and dips. So
where you guys
all
got
dips
me right now? Where you guys got me right now?
All dips.
Golly, ranch and mozzarella sticks. No way.
Exactly.
Really?
I'm with you.
Okay, so let's just deviate
it's so
there.
good. Don't knock it till you try it.
No, I prefer a chunkier marinara or like a smooth.
Well, for
marinara.
dipping sauce, I would prefer more of a smoother one, like they provide here.
But like on a spaghetti, you prefer a little more.
I don't mind some chunks on my spaghetti.
Yeah.
I don't like both in that situation. Definitely
no
chunk.
You put ranch on your spaghetti sauce? Or
I was about to say, golly, where are we?
No, I do love ranch though. I love ranch.
What else has Roosters got going on?
It's been a great week. It's nice. I walked in today, Hannah, our server. It's the first time I've ever seen her full face. Yeah. It was neat. It's neat to see smiles. I think that's what I've missed the most. But yeah, so we're just happy. We're back to, full capacity, and we're very, very grateful for that. And to the community for still coming in and supporting us. So.
And they're bringing back mini corn dogs.
We are bringing back mini corn dogs, guys. Bobby and I were just talking. I don't know when there'll be an Appetizer Tuesday special, but they're slowly getting back into each location.
Today would be the ideal day to say you're bringing back tortilla chips. It's Justin.
It's the Roosters chips. They're like a Saratoga chip.
They're good, nice and thick.
Oh, they're the best. They're still in our catering truck, so I've had them at a bunch of graduation parties over the past 2 weeks, and they still are my number one favorite.
How do people get Roosters catering trucks for their graduation party?
They if you go on our website, the catering team has their own email, and they are phenomenal. I recommend them for any event. They know what they're doing. They've learned over the years, just even narrowing down, knowing exactly how much food you need for a graduation party. I mean, that's hard to figure out, how many people to feed, and that boys eat more than girls. So, coming up with the perfect menu. So they're wonderful.
They are wonderful.
You gotta love the catering trucks, man. I've been to a couple of events through Ohio State and other, charities I work with who had catering truck Roosters, and you're kind of always skeptical about catering trucks because it's not as good. Well, you would anticipate it's not as good as going into the restaurant.
You just don't know how long it's been sitting on the truck.
No, exactly, but it is. It's great, and so.
Well, they've worked in the stores, so they bring the Roosters culture with them. Exactly. They bring the drive to make sure that it's a great experience, which is fun.
Well, it's always a great experience. We are having a fun, casual conversation at Roosters. Nicole, go out there and see some more smiles. We'll let you get out of here.
Okay, thanks,
We're going to bring Spencer Holbrook in for round 2. He just doesn't know it yet. I want to make sure Spencer is always on high alert. So we'll be back in just a moment.
Roosters is one of the unique companies that we deal with. They're involved in everything we do, from our personal foundation to also the Cancer Research Fund. And that's from the Buckeye Cruise from Cancer to all the events leading up to the Buckeye Cruise.
They donate back to different organizations that are near and dear to their heart. And we're so fortunate to have been with Roosters now for a long, long time.
All the folks at Roosters are just genuinely kind folks, and they want to make a difference.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Welcome back to Roosters on Olentangy. Spencer Holbrook has joined us. He's in place of Nicole Cox.
I thought we were recording all the other stuff we just said.
No.
Why not?
Keep it in. Keep it in.
This is a reminder to who's ever editing this video to remove those portions.
No, that's the stuff that, Coach, you get those SEC dudes creeping up in your timeline, man. In your mentions, Cardale. I there was some serious hate that came at me.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like low-key the king of social media. You want me to jump in this little?
It's fine. I'll have to bring you in.
Yeah.
They'll say terrible things about you too then as well. And it's fine. That's why I was like, hey, dude, it's cool. You can say whatever you want about me. I'm pointing out real facts about scholarship numbers. I'm like, you get 85 guys on a team, but yet you sign 110 guys over 4 years. Tell me how that matters. What happens all those other dudes? Where are they at? That whole other class of kids.
It's wild that Bob hasn't had Vol Twitter or the full regalia of Alabama fans in his.
So I'm protected by Vol Twitter because I'm Witten's dude. So Jason Witten's the made man of Tennessee.
Jason Witten calls off the dogs.
So I think they protect me with him, but Bama, I'm not so lucky.
How different do you guys think that sports would be now without social media?
I was talking to someone today about this. The society that we have created through 25 years of reality TV stars and social media, I don't even know what 17, 18-year-olds, what goes through their head anymore.
Nothing.
Yeah. That's I'm pretty sure nothing. How do I get more I don't know. Some of the kids are great and they have great families and they raise in the right way, but the vast majority, man. And the other thing too, it's not just the kids. Then you have grown adults who are my age and older and whatever, and then they're spitting vitriol at these kids, because you didn't pick your school. I'm like, okay, well, you didn't pick your school. It's okay.
Yeah, Cardale, you came up right at the start.
Yeah, you were.
I was going to say I came up in an interesting period right before, and to see the takeoff of social media, and at that point, the platform was pretty much Twitter, and then Instagram was coming around, and it was pretty much the way that everyone was going because you post pictures and everything. But to see how it evolved now to, God, at least 7 years ago when I was in school, the hype of it when it was, taking off. I mean, I didn't anticipate this, and then you got, some of the stuff with recruiting and social media, what these coaches and these recruiting coordinators of these schools do. With,
the videos, the signing videos.
Yeah, the signing videos.
That's insane.
Going through, I'm just like, it's a whole production.
Yeah.
It turned into a production, and in a way, I mean, it's somewhat beneficial to guys for life after college. You look at a guy like a Juju Smith-Schuster and Claypool is his base receiver, and things that they're doing on social media. Yeah, does it take away from some points of the game? You kind of put a target on your back. Yeah, but it also gives guys the opportunity to show their personality outside of football.
Yeah, I mean, you were recruited right when Twitter was starting in 2009. So
yes.
Remember, he didn't come here to play school.
Oh, my God.
Right.
Here we go. See, that's another thing. That's another thing about social media. They can remember forever.
Everything's very easily taken out of context. But I just think back in your days, like when you were starting, I remember hearing stories about college coaches like creating catfish accounts of women to try to like figure out how to I mean, this stuff is, I'm sure it still happens. Probably less now
or they're just better at it,
right?
Exactly.
And they're more realistic, I guess, with their approach. But do you remember Ohio State 2013, I think, maybe the 2012 spring game where Alex Anzalone, who was committed to Ohio State, the linebacker, with Joey Bosa, he was up here, and they ran into this fan at the spring game.
Is that the sex predator?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that's why Anzalone ended up decommitting. It's just crazy so over the weekend, one of the Ohio State official visitors, or maybe not inadvertently, but quickly deleted a Instagram post of the schedule that they had for the weekend for the official visits, right? And where they were going to be every time.
Oh yeah.
And
they had weird things in pick up a McDonald's bag,
right?
Strip club, stuff like that.
Natural,
just the good stuff.
But I mean, when you see that, and you see if you're out in public and you're a fan of Ohio State, and you see Ryan Day and 30 recruits, you imagine people go, "Oh, I got to get a picture of this." So
there's good and bad to that because it shows the love for the program, and most people are highly respectful and do it in a pretty good way. And we go on the Buckeye cruise every year, and they're doing a really good job of it. And most of the fans they have great passion.
But that's at sea. There are no laws at sea.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But they do a good job. There's a handful of people that can be a little overbearing sometimes. But it's great because you talk to Ryan Day and be like, listen, this is the love that you have in this city. Now, I'd like to be able to sit here and chew my food without having to take a picture right now.
Exactly.
And it's also, by the way, my anniversary with my wife.
Yeah.
And I'm hosting a recruiting visit.
How about that? 14 months of dead period, and the first day of official visits is his wedding anniversary. That
gotta be.
That's just bad
timing.
Oh, it's so amazing.
Spencer, as a fan of young men, as you are.
Oh my God!
Like Schlegg. Schlegg loves watching dudes. Spencer Holbrook, fan of young men.
As you're a fan of these young men and their families, if you saw a recruit and his family out in public, would you be like, "Oh, I know you. I got to say hi"? No. What would you do? Just you'd be one of these taking a selfie and accidentally.
Oh, in the background. Oh yes.
Who was this guy?
Well, first of all, when I was a fan of college football, I didn't know the recruits by their look. I just knew the number of the jersey that they wore and who they played for. So I wouldn't really know who it is, but it's that's probably one of the recruits on an official visit, depending on where I'm at. Is he here for an unofficial visit? Are they eating somewhere that's not Hyde Park, or are they eating
at McDonald's?
Yeah. So no, I would not have went up and taken a picture and fanboyed very hard.
See, I've not fanboy, but run into a recruit through the years, been out of school, and might have saw them with their family, or if I'm definitely at the Woody, you want to just say hi, good luck with the recruiting process, go Buck, or something like that. So I've been in a situation where it was big recruiting weekends, and I might have been at a restaurant or something like that, and I ran into a guy that I kind of look familiar. I'm not big into recruiting. I'm like, oh yeah, I think that's such and such. And you see them staring back. Okay, I think that is. So I go over, hey man, good luck with the recruiting process. Nice to meet you guys from Cardale. Go Bucks.
But
something like that. But not even if I was a big fan of some of these guys at a young age, I would.
But Clemson had one of their Dabo Swinney camp, which is weird. That's a totally different weird thing. Why are these college camps called the Dabo Swinney camp? Isn't it am I the only one who thinks that's weird?
Well, because Clemson really wasn't that good before him, so maybe they want to brand up.
Well, like Ohio State says they have like their Ohio State one-day recruiting camps, and these are
called
like,
the Ryan Day.
Right.
Wasn't the Urban Meyer? Was it the Jim Tressel?
Yeah. So that's weird on its face. But beyond that, so like Taj Boyd for some reason was at their camp, just to hang out. Do you guys?
Taj Boyd's a good dude, by the way.
Yeah, you guys as players, how much? I don't want you to give away trade secrets here necessarily, but like how much are you asked by guys at Ohio State? Hey, make sure you stop by, or you guys are ambassadors to the program. You both won national championships. Like, how is it that you're asked to be a part of things still?
With me personally, I'm always surrounding guys. Like I finally had a chance to meet CJ this past weekend and ran into him out, and he's a big dude. But I told him straight up, like, hey, if it wasn't for this COVID stuff, you probably saw me way more often. Because I'm always around the program. If I'm using the indoor facility to throw, if I'm going to see Coach Mick, I'm not, I don't think anyone on coaching staff I play. Tony Alford is still there, right?
Yeah.
So I would go see those guys, and it happens more naturally in that aspect. Because I was probably around a facility 3 or 4 times a week, just shooting the shit with the guys. Yeah. But I haven't been asked to like come back because we got number 1 guy in the country and things like that. Because they probably anticipate, Cardale around here somewhere. Go outside, probably see my truck in the front. He around here somewhere.
Which is good. I'm telling you, man. Like having your guys around makes a big difference. Yeah. Because you can sell family all you like and this, but like man, it's great. Like I've gotten to know Cardale pretty well. Like Josh Perry, guys that are his age, like they're 10 years younger than me. Yeah. And knowing like a guy like Joey Galloway, who's in Vrabes, so like 10 years older than me. Yeah. And so you get to meet these guys through them just being around the program.
Exactly.
And, they become friends. Like, dude, you need something? You text the guy, and that's what I was trying to tell. Like, what's the great part? I'm like, can call all these guys. Like anything they need, anything I need. We're always open, always trying to help each other. And so they have me. I teach a couple classes over at the business school. So they have guys coming in who want to major in business. Like, all right, I can talk to you about going to school here. I can talk to you, about playing life after football. I can also talk to you like what the school's going to have to offer as well, and just why you come back, why you live here. Tell about other guys and stuff. So there's just a lot of good things that are involved in that. And I'm a huge advocate because I think it's important. Because I remember when I came to camp. This is before all the 1-days. They had Andy Katzenmoyer back here. He's working out. I think
the original didn't come here to play school.
Yeah, the original didn't come. I mean, he legit didn't play school at all. I mean, I love Andy, but and then I think Joey was back maybe running. And Coach K's working these guys out, and just it's like, man, these dudes like they come back here and work out. Like even I think Andy was still in school, Galloway was back, like all the NFL guys. I'm like, man, that's pretty awesome that all these guys are still here and guys still come back and are around, and then getting a chance to get to know those guys as a player. I'm like that stuff means a lot. Yeah. And then when you go in the NFL, like I already know these guys are. I went on my visit to New England with when I was coming out for the draft, and Teddy Bruschi comes up and starts talking to me about Vrabes. Yeah. He's like, I heard a lot about you. Vrabes wasn't in there at the time, but it's like it's great. Like that's the stuff that you have that this place gives players the opportunity that you don't really see everywhere else.
And you think about how many players, especially out-of-state players, who come through the recruiting process and play at Ohio State and make Columbus home, life after ball. And I can't tell you how many times I run into a fan or a player or the young guys now, because I never played with none of these guys who are on the team now. So what are you doing here? Like I live in Columbus. Yeah. Oh, you from Columbus? No. I mean, I'm 2 hours north, but even if I wasn't, this would be home for me and things like that. So not just the school, not just the family atmosphere, but the city.
The one last thing on that. No. That's the part of the brotherhood that doesn't get talked about enough. Because we talk about the brotherhood when we write about things.
And the current.
As in like the current team and the 85 guys with 120 guys with all the support staff.
Or 150 at Alabama.
Yeah, exactly. that are on that current roster. And then you talk about these guys are, years apart from each other, and they're good friends. And then, like he said, with the guys 10 years or older than him, and guys before that, and even back to like Archie, still being involved with everything the university does, like that brotherhood is a 4 years, 40 years. It's a 40-year brotherhood, not a 4-year brotherhood. And I think that's what makes the program so strong in every aspect.
And some of the greatest things about being friends with Bobby, being friends with guys that's played 10 to 15 to 20 years before you and these guys now, You share some stories.
Yeah.
The best part, you sit around, you share the stories. Oh man, but like you said, we just talking about off camera that we was at the memorial this weekend. We didn't run into each other, but he was like, man, the cicadas, man. Last time they was here, man, freaking Slagle ate one of those things. Like just sharing stories like that and just joking around like that. That's what makes this place special. And
you hadn't been to the memorial in 17 years?
No, the cicadas.
The
cicadas.
They had. The last time that they were here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
they came back for COVID.
Oh,
so that's a big piece. When you got drafted to the Bills, was there anybody else there from Ohio State on the team yet?
Well, me and Adolphus Washington got drafted
came at the
together
same
there,
time.
but from Ohio State, no.
Okay, and so that's
Ohio State alumni front office people, but no players.
And so I get drafted to Dallas, and Terry Glenn's there.
Yeah,
I mean Terry Glenn, he was in his 12th year, and he's a guy that I watched growing up.
Exactly.
And he's big time, dude. He's all pro, Pro Bowl player, really good. And Terry doesn't talk to anybody. He's a very, very quiet guy. And he always wore sunglasses in the facility and everything. Bill let him do whatever he wanted. And he worked hard and showed up, but he had different rules for Terry. Terry comes up to me literally the first day. And we got like another rookie that's sitting there beside me in my locker. And he comes up. He's like, hey, Buckeye. He's like, giving you whatever you need, man. I got you. He's like, we stick together. I'm like, all right. He's like, I'm serious. And he's just like, pound and walked off. They go, he goes, you know him? I was like, that's the first time I'd ever spoken to him in my life.
But it's crazy. It's like that though.
It's serious.
It's like that with outside of when you get out the Woody Hayes and you go play, God forbid, a guy that played at the university way before you. It's just like you played together.
Yeah.
Like, this is my guy, no
That's
matter what.
That's how we in
care.
the media are, as you now well know, as a media, guy yourself. We're all the same. We're all like, oh, you're in the media, I'm in the media. We're dapping up.
We're brothers. Yeah, that's your secrets.
So
did we just become best friends?
Right.
I'll tell this quick story since Cardale brought it up. So Schlags, it's been 17 years, the cicadas. So we went to the memorial, and I'm thinking in college, it's like the greatest thing I'd ever done. We got to go up there, had some friends. I mean, what was that? 2000, statute of limitations probably up on most of this stuff. So we go up there, young guys like 21, and having we got to have some drinks.
Sure,
I was like, I don't really like golf. I don't really play golf. Go to these house parties. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, these are people that are full grown adults, like my age now, here acting like it's spring break on a Thursday morning
at a golf tournament.
At a golf tournament, I was like, this is like Happy Gilmore. This isn't even real. And so we're out there, and the cicadas. They're just humming everywhere, man. It's so loud. And one of them falls down on a table. And it was probably now like 2:30 or 3 o'clock, getting a little later in the day.
How many PBRs had he had?
Oh, dude. They're uncountable numbers.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah. It's like, listen, we got out there like 9. So we were fully warmed up and ready to go. It was already the fourth quarter of the game. And one of these cicadas falls down. And AJ's like, I bet you won't eat that. And she's like, get out of here. And someone's like, you won't eat it. And then these people start, covers it up. And all of a sudden, like $20 comes flying onto this table, and then it was like all of a sudden we're making it rain. I mean, dude, they fired up the mic, and there might have been $300 on the table for it.
Hey, this is your field. Anything
goes. There's change. And so then he's like, he rips the wings off.
Oh my god!
Jams that thing in his mouth. It's like crawling. You can see like the leg trying to escape, and he crunches it down. They're cheering so loud, and then next 3 minutes later, the marshal, they're like, hey, you guys got it. It's too loud. Like, we're going to shut this party down. With this, and they have no idea. No one's even caring. You would have thought that someone hit like an 18-foot putt to win. No, it's just my man Schlags crushing a cicada on the front porch.
Just smashed it.
Austin's wife, Allie, wrote a story for the Dispatch last week about how cicadas are like a big thing right now. And
if you're allergic to crustaceans, though, you can't eat them, which is unbelievable. We didn't know that at the time.
The more you know.
Well,
this is when we'd have that
But I joked with AJ, because AJ was like, dude, if you would have
eaten that. He has a shellfish allergy.
I was like, you might have went down, big dog. And I don't think anybody there was in the frame of mind that would have understood what was happening, because you just would have started swelling up and rolling around. I don't think anyone there had EpiPens.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's a better spot to end than that. We're going to talk about Terry Glenn more next week, I hope, because it's going to be wide receivers week, and he had the single greatest season of any receiver in Ohio State history, even in 1995. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we start to break into the summer. Last thing, was this the worst part of the summer for you guys, like right now, when everyone else is pretty much entering summer break and you guys had to be on campus?
It was tough. It was tough because our summer break was pretty much finals week because it was discretionary.
Exactly.
So it was discretionary.
They give you your off week during finals. I forgot that.
Exactly. So still had to pretty much come in and get a workout, and then you had like 4 days or something like that off until the new guys came in. So it was tough.
I always like the summer though, because I'm like, you know what, we're training now. You can see the end in sight. When you're starting winter conditioning, it's like you're training off motivations from last year. Not that still doesn't always play into it, but like we got to get ready for the purpose of playing a game, so you know where your body's at physically. So everything you do, it's like, hey, we're ramping up. You can start to count the weeks down. Yeah. Which when you're sitting there and it's 20 degrees outside and it's February and they're mix yelling at you to train, we got to get this, that, and you're like, dude, I remember playing football more than I can look ahead forward at the next year. So I always kind of like the summer. You get to really hang out because everybody's gone, so it's just you and your teammates.
Yep.
You know, and some guys, get together and shoot. I don't know if you were here yet, Cardale, shooting pellet guns off of dorms at students, and they've been.
And that's a good point to wrap it up at, guys. See you guys next week.
87 days.
I think we've run the gambit. No, we hate this part of the summer because content.
Because they recruit good dudes that don't get arrested anymore. If
that's true.
Guys like back in the day, and you get some nice felony drug possessions,
if you get a nice good felony drug possession, that's where I want to ask the real last thing.
Bowl games for tattoos. I mean, all the good stuff.
Give me one moment for a guy coming into the program in June where you were like, no, he's not going to make it.
One guy,
like the first impression of a dude who like showed up in your roster, and he walks into the campus on June 8th and he's acting like he's king crap, and you're like, nope, not gonna make it.
Oh yeah. Do you want me to tell you the person?
Yeah, unless you're adverse.
He went to I think he went to Cleveland East. His name was Reggie Smith. And he got here and walked in. He was talking about playing linebacker. And that class in Ohio that year was really weak. And I think Tress stretched it to get more Ohio guys. And he came in and he was talking all this, how fast he was and this and that. And I'm like, all right, man. And we went and ran, and he died. I mean, like, you got no shot, bro. You got no shot. It wasn't even that hard. We were like 8 half-gassers.
Yeah.
He ran like 3 of them, and I could not make it. I'm like, what have you been doing? You are 18 years old. How could you possibly be in this bad of shape?
Yeah.
Smoke weed every day.
Yeah, I mean, that's easy.
Yeah.
He made it one season. He didn't even make it to the next spring. He made it through that summer season and then was gone.
It's good to know that your calling may need to be changed early, instead of wasting a lot of time.
Yeah. I can't remember. I'm trying to think of one of the guys who came in and literally didn't make it. It was off the team. Not because of physically they couldn't do it, but just off the field issues. But I can't remember these guys' names that didn't literally
Your crew, your class.
Oh, my. Yeah.
There's a lot of
yeah.
The where are they now? If you guys don't get a good one, where are they now for his class?
Yeah,
right?
Please, no, actually.
Hey, we gotta fill content all summer long.
Bob, was there anybody that came in that first week of June where you're like, they're not going to make it, and then they actually made it? Because I feel like that's a better story.
I will tell you this. The guy who it is, the fact that he not only made it here 5 years, and I think Mick slid him into the gold group, which he did earn, but the board almost fell off the wall when it happened, was Dame Arnett. Man, they refer to as Rico.
Oh my God! Yeah,
because you were older when he first came in.
I've had 2 years for Rico, man. He was.
I was like,
he was like holding on by a thread.
I mean, a thread.
Held on to a thread for 4.5 years.
There was a time.
Exactly.
I don't even know. It was like Dave Chappelle Prince. He was just levitating there at some point.
Like he couldn't even Rico. Like
couldn't get out.
It was
it was
can't
get right.
Yeah, it was can't get right. It was at a point where he couldn't even be in our locker room.
Yeah, I mean,
it got to a point where Coach Meyer thought he was just such a bad guy because of his hair. It made him cut his hair. All type of stuff like that. That's a whole nother story. We can have a whole show on Rico.
Yeah, next week we'll intro the show with Rico's rap album.
The guy made it, and then by his 5th year, I looked at him.
The first round.
I'm going to tell you what, and this is how this show can sometimes go, because this could go on for a while. We were sitting here at the WAC 2 years ago, preseason, going through the roster, getting to talk to kids for the first time in 6-7 months. And Damon Arnett came out there and did his media interview and blew everyone away.
It was my first time ever. So it was my first time ever talking to him and ever being around him. And I had been warned before we went to the cornerbacks availability, hey, just be ready because you might have to hit pause or something because they're just going to pull Rico out if he says something, or like if he does something, just like be ready. We might not be posting this interview. And I think 2 years later we can say that
he blew everyone away.
I walked away and
he became everyone's favorite guy.
The last couple of years through the draft class deal, actually. Ever since I've been done with school, I think Rico, honestly, his story, his transformation, and him going in the first round, it's my favorite story and my favorite guy to watch and follow. Still dealing with some issues with the Raiders and injuries and taking care of his mental health. But
his hand has been broken for 3 years in a row.
I don't know if it's ever not been broken. I think it's.
But he's playing through it, though.
Yeah,
he won't let that. He won't let that.
What happens when you keep punching lockers and stuff?
It happens.
He's crazy, but that's like you said. And this is the one thing that developed here.
Yeah.
I mean, dude,
that's real.
That's real.
That's real.
It took him 3.5 years to mature into that guy that he became. And like now, and he's always been a good dude. He was just very immature and had like no accountability to anything in the world.
Yeah.
Damon Arnett came into this Roosters with Denzel Ward for my son's birthday and signed autographs and took pictures with dudes. Now, Denzel had to go get him to make sure he came. But Damon, I said, you make sure you get Rico. But they came together, and it was awesome, man. Yeah. And he was fantastic. Like I would let I would let Damon watch my kids. Now, I don't know what they would be doing when I got back, but I know he would be playing with them. It may not be safe.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, they might be like lighting stuff on fire and throwing at each other. But
thinking it's funny.
I mean, but he would.
As long as there's nothing flammable around you, that's really not that dangerous.
He's a great dude, man. He's great.
All right, we got to go. This has been Lettermen Live. Thanks for Nicole Cox for hosting us, Cardale Jone, Spencer Holbrook, Bobby Carpenter. I'm Jeremy Birmingham. Thanks for watching.